Alright. Oh, I forgot. Let me check this out. Hello. Let me check this out. Okay, it's working. Hello, YouTube world. This is Nicholas Montez here. And today we're going to be doing something a little fun. I know that in the last hour you just got a bunch of videos from me talking about Disney movies and whatever. Hey, November is the big month for Disney movies. Let's just put it at that. But today we're going to be doing a bracket fight. With the release of Disney's Wish out in theaters now, we're going to be doing a bracket fight to determine what is the best Disney movie. So we got it right here. We're going to be doing this row up until this main box right here. But we're going to be starting with this first row. That, of course, includes Snow White versus Pinocchio. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm doing this as a live stream, it's because I don't really have time to worry about it on a normal video, and it's a little bit frustrating to download a video that long, so I might as well just do it as a live stream. But we have Snow White versus Pinocchio, two underrated Disney classics that I think are great. However, I will be choosing Snow White over Pinocchio because Pinocchio is great and it's fun, but it has some things I'm not exactly proud of. Then we have Fantasia versus Dumbo. You guys already know me. I am bored with Fantasia, but Dumbo is brilliant and it gets better every rewatch. Then we have Bambi versus Saludos Amigos. This is also one that I actually like because Bambi, I'm actually going to go with Bambi on this one because Saludos Amigos is my least favorite Disney film. And it's absolutely boring. And, well, not boring, but it's also the shortest Disney movie of all time when you actually think about it. And as the start to the wartime era, it just defined what this era was. And it's just pretty much bad. Alright, now we have the Three Caballeros versus Make My Music. Now, this is where it gets interesting because Make My Music was actually one of the most recent Disney movies I watched recently. Technically, the most recent Disney film I watched was Aladdin. Well, I rewatched it. But Make My Music was okay. You know, I liked the whale sequence. That was cool. Whales singing in the opera. But The Three Caballeros, on the other hand, was actually a much better movie, in my opinion. Just because the fun interactions between the characters were fun. I liked how we got to learn more about Mexico and Christmas in Mexico. That was fun. But at the same time, both these movies don't do anything for me that impressed me. So I have to say Three Caballeros on this one. Alright, now we have Fun and Fancy Free versus Melody Time. Once again, the wartime era is not the best era of Disney. Let's be honest here. Fun and Fancy Free is actually pretty fun and fancy free. I think the shorts in here are actually really good. I love the Mickey and the Beanstalk one. I love the Bear Circus one. And then Melody Time, it just kind of feels like it's trying to be Fantasia. Which, if I'm being honest, if Fantasia was part of this era, it probably would have been the best film of that era because it fits perfectly. And maybe that's probably my reason why I don't like Fantasia as much. Because it feels like the wartime era, except it's gorgeous and beautiful. But as for me, I'm choosing Fun and Fancy Free because It's a lot more fun, and it's fancy-free, and it's also more rewatchable. And then we get on the Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad versus Cinderella, which I will actually be going with Cinderella on this one. It's more quotable, it's more rewatchable. Whereas Ichabod and Mr. Toad, those shorts are good, but they're not great. And Cinderella is really going back to what Disney is good at and making a good, heartfelt story. And I thought it was good. Now let's go up here. We get... Excuse me. You can't tell I'm sick. We get Alice in Wonderland versus Peter Pan. Alice in Wonderland, when I first started watching it, I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good. And then I kept rewatching, and then I got into it, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like it as much. It seems kind of weird, but not in the weird I was expecting. And then we get Peter Pan, and I thought it was good, but I almost felt like it did so much that I feel like the remake for Disney could have done way better. But this movie, I'm going to go with Peter Pan on this one because it's a much better movie. Then we have Lady and the Tramp versus Sleeping Beauty. Lady and the Tramp, I think, is actually one of Disney's most classic films. It really does a good job with its characters. It's sweet, it's iconic. At the same time, the story itself is predictable. It's not the most memorable thing in the world, but it's a sweet little movie with two dogs falling in love. And I think most people would actually like this movie. Sleeping Beauty, I think, is kind of like what Peter Pan does, or really what Bambi does, where it has all this fun, unique animation, and this movie does that too, but it also has a lot of great fantasy elements and action battles. So I would put Sleeping Beauty above, but I'm actually going to pick Lady and the Tramp. Then we get 101 Dalmatians versus The Sword and the Stone. So I think 101 Dalmatians is much better, as it's just more entertaining. The animation is pretty cool. The characters and puppies are fun. Cruella de Vil is a great villain. Sword of the Stone, it's a very weird film that you basically have Arthur, who is going to pull out the sword in the stone, and you basically have them turning into animals. That's not really the funnest story ever. And so that's why I didn't pick it. And granted, there's some fun to be had, especially with the Madame Mim versus Merlin scene. I liked that a lot. Besides that, this movie doesn't really do much for me. And it's quite boring too. Alright, next up we have Jungle Book versus the Aristocats. Now, this is one because you're competing against two movies that I actually really like. But obviously I like one more than the other, so I'm actually choosing Jungle Book over Aristocats. And yes, I actually do like Aristocats. Aristocats is a fun movie with fun characters. Basically, if you combine Lady and the Tramp and 101 Dalmatians together and made like a unique fun adventure with it, and like you took the basic premise of these cats getting lost, and then you took the cleverness of 101 Dalmatians and mixed it together. That's what Aristocats did. But Jungle Book has so much fun characters. It has great songs in it, some pretty cool animation. And what's cool about Jungle Book is they reused animation in other Disney films with like the walks of Mowgli. So we'll get into a later movie where they actually reused the stuff of Baloo and everything. And Mowgli's walks. So it's actually pretty cool the way they did that. Then we get Robin Hood versus the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. And I'm actually going to go with the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh on this one. Robin Hood is good. I think it has some fun action. but the thing is, I just don't really remember anything about it. I don't remember any of the characters. I can see them on a poster, but I won't remember their names. All I see is Robin Hood as a fox, and you just, like, especially, like, if Disney ever decided to remake this, the only question is to how. Because they're talking wild animals. So how would you do that? It's weird. Then you get the Rescuers Down Under versus Fox and the Hound. And I think that this is quite good. I think the Fox and the Hound is quite good. So I'm choosing you. I think Rescuers is good on second rewatch. But it is quite forgettable. It's not the most memorable film of Disney movies. But it's quite good. I enjoyed the second time around, like Robin Hood, but that's all I can really say about that. Alright, next up we have Black Cauldron versus The Great Mouse Detective. These two movies I do like, but unfortunately, you're actually going to be going with I'm actually going to go with The Great Mouse Detective. I like The Black Cauldron, but it's kind of forgettable, and The Great Mouse Detective has a lot of fun characters that I really like spending time with. And it's just a fun detective movie with mouses. With mouses. I don't know. Then we got Oliver and Company versus The Little Mermaid. Now, you already know my thoughts on Oliver and Company. I hate this movie. I think the animation design for New York is pretty cool. Almost it makes it look like a children's storybook. And some of the songs I actually think are pretty fun. But that's kind of everything there is to know. There is kind of some fun to be had here. But the story itself is just kind of Like, I don't know. It's like when I first saw it, I was like, I just don't like this. I don't like that the way they just animated all these characters. Honestly, I probably need to give it a rewatch, because I don't know why I hated this movie. I need to give it a second rewatch. Then we have The Little Mermaid. And then I'm choosing The Little Mermaid over this one because it is great. It's more memorable. It's the one that really brought Disney back to what it's supposed to be. And yeah, Little Mermaid's great. Then we get The Rescuers Down Under versus Beauty and the Beast. So Rescuers Down Under, we're not even going to talk about that because Beauty and the Beast is a great movie. Rescuers Down Under, it was a good sequel to Rescuers, but no one cares about Rescuers. Everybody loves Beauty and the Beast. It's great characters, great music, great comedy, great story. I talked about it on Wednesday, so go check out my Celebration of Cinema review. But that's all I'm saying about it. I'm choosing Beauty and the Beast. And then we get to this final row with Aladdin versus The Lion King. Now, I talked about Aladdin yesterday. Well, I actually talked about it an hour ago. It was supposed to come out yesterday, as well as this live. And I think it still lives up. I will say this, though. The only issue that I actually have with Aladdin is that I wish it was longer and we could have spent more, that we could still spend more time with this adventure. Like, we could just have more. And I think that's a good sign. I don't really have any issues with this movie. Besides the whole kissing scene with Jasmine and Jafar. That's gross. But then we get to The Lion King, and obviously this is my favorite Disney movie of all time. This is my favorite animated film of all time. But just because it's my favorite movie of all time doesn't mean that it could win. So we don't actually know that for sure. But that's just my opinion. So I'm choosing Lion King over Aladdin on this one. Alright, so we talked about all the movies on this side. Now we're just going to go to the top here. And basically make it all the way down to the bottom. So here we go. Snow White versus versus Dumbo. Dumbo, actually. Bambi versus Saludos Amigos. Bambi. Dumbo versus Bambi. Easily, Dumbo. Fun and Fancy Free versus Cinderella. Cinderella. Peter Pan versus Lady and the Tramp. Lady and the Tramp. Cinderella versus Lady and the Tramp. Cinderella. Easily. Wait, did I miss a box? Oh, okay, so we're going from Dumbo versus Cinderella. Yeah, I'm just seeing Dumbo on this one. Wait, what happened? Okay. Okay, so now we're 101 Dalmatians versus Jungle Book. Jungle Book. 101 the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh versus Fox and the Hound. Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Jungle Book versus Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Jungle Book. And then... what movie is down here? Okay, so now we have the Gray Mouse Detective versus Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid. So now we have Beauty and the Beast versus Lion King. Lion King. The Yellow Mermaid versus Lion King. Lion King. So what connects to... oh. Okay, now it all connects. Okay. So now we got Jungle Book versus Lion King. Yeah, Lion King. So now we got it at this box. So now we got Dumbo versus Lion King. So Lion King is going right here. Alright, so we completed the first side. Woohoo! We're almost done. And now we can go to this next side, which is going to be very exciting. So first up, we got Pocahontas versus Hunchback of Notre Dame. And I think that this next era of Disney films was pretty good. As for me, though, I'm actually going to go with Hunchback of Notre Dame on this one. I think it's just a great movie. I rewatched it in summer of this year, and it's just one of the best movies I've seen. It's so good. Great characters, great story. Honestly, almost emotional, and the music is powerful. Pocahontas, it kind of has all of the strengths that makes a good Disney movie, except it's not really told in storytelling well. Which I think that's where it mostly struggles. Then we got Hercules versus Mulan. Hercules is one that I think it's nothing like Pocahontas. It's nothing like Hunchback, and it's a very silly movie that I don't really know what it's trying to do. I have a lot of fun. I like the characters. it's like, it's kind of confusing of how to talk about it. Do I enjoy it? Yes. But I'm actually going to go with Mulan on this one. Just because I enjoy it more, and I also just love it a lot more with the action, the characters, the animation, the story, and the songs. It's just great. And then we get Tarzan versus Fantasia 2000. Excuse me. Tarzan. Tarzan is very good. I've rewatched this movie 1,000 times. I believe when I first saw it, my original plan was to watch Beauty and the Beast first, but the original plan, I guess, turned out to be Tarzan, and my sister and I fell in love with it ever since, and so that's how we pretty much came to be watching Tarzan. Fantasia 2000, I think, is a much better movie than what Fantasia 1940 was. It's simple, it's short, and all of these shorts in it are memorable, and they're fun and colorful. But at the same time, I think Tarzan is the much better movie because they have better characters, funner soundtrack, and it's also more gorgeous. So they're gonna go here. Alright, now we got Dinosaur versus Emperor's New Groove. Sorry, I'm dying over here. We got Dinosaur vs. Emperor's New Groove. I'm gonna be honest, Dinosaur was just so boring to me. I never want to watch that movie again. It was just so boring. Could not stay awake through it. I was just bored. Like, the story of a dinosaur getting raised by lemurs was interesting, I guess. But then you meet all these other dinosaurs, and then the dinosaur grows up. Kinda weird. But Emperor's New Groove, what I liked about this movie, sure, Cusco technically was the villain of the movie, but David Spade is so charismatic with this role, and he's so likable that it's hard to not like him. And his interactions with Jeff Goodman. Was that his name? Jeff Goodman? Oh, I meant John Goodman. John Goodman. Yeah, John Goodman. His interactions with John Goodman are great. Yzma is a good villain. Kronk is a pretty fun character. So, and honestly, it's just one of the most catchy and rewatchable Disney films I've ever seen. So, I'm choosing this one. Alright, hang on. We're going to take a little break because I need to go to the bathroom real quick. But let me check if the sound on the video is still working. Hello? Hello? Alright, I'm gonna mute the mic. Where is it? Wait, can you not mute a mic on here? Hold up. Hold up. I'm trying to find... If you don't know, I'm doing this on my phone. Knowing this little, like, the prism. Oh, never mind, it's right here. Alright, we are back. Let me check the sound. Alright, we are back. Let me check the sound. Alright, so next up we got Atlantis the Lost Empire versus Lilo and Stitch. This is definitely Lilo and Stitch is definitely one of my favorite Disney films. I have it very high up there. Atlantis, it had a good concept, some kind of fun stuff, but it was kind of mostly boring for me, so I'm going to give this one to Lilo and Stitch. Then we get Treasure Planet versus Brother Bear, and Treasure Planet I actually thought had some fun stuff in it, like better than Atlantis. I thought some of the characters were pretty fun. I thought the world was kind of cool. And the soundtrack was actually pretty cool, too. The main other stuff, I didn't really care for. But then we get into Brother Bear, and it's a story about brothers and bears and learning what it means to love and brotherhood. And it was just so good. The animation is great. The songs from Phil Collins is amazing. It's hilarious, and it's just a great Disney movie. This is basically like the Lion King of the post-Renaissance era. So, honestly, I love Brother Bear. All right, now we're getting into this little section right here with Home on the Range and Chicken Little. Home on the Range versus Chicken Little. This is kind of a difficult one because I don't technically like any of these movies. Home on the Range I just think is awful and possibly one of the worst Disney movies. It's just the cast they decided to do was awful. The animation is quite good, but the characters are just terrible. The story is terrible, and it's just kind of weird at times. And so, I just couldn't really get into it as much. Chicken Little, I would say it's bad, but it's laughably bad, because there are some things I do quite enjoy. It starts out as a chicken who wants to learn to play baseball, but then turns into this film about the sky is falling and that he fears an alien invasion will come. Kind of an interesting story there. But I'm actually going to choose Chicken Little over Home on the Range because I think Home on the Range is bad, but Chicken Little is a little bit more entertaining than Home on the Range. Alright, next up we have Meet the Robinsons versus Bolt. Now, these are actually two movies that I honestly think about them, and I really both enjoy both these movies. And I think they're actually both very good. Which one would I actually choose, though? I actually have no idea. And if I'm being honest, it's kind of hard to choose because I really like Meet the Robinsons and I really like Bolt. And if I'm going to be honest, I'm going to choose Bolt because I think it's the more memorable movie. And Meet the Robinsons, I like it because it's a good time travel story, but it's not quite as rewatchable. But it is still good, though. Both of these films are still very good. Alright, next up we have Princess and the Frog versus Tangled. Now, these are two other Disney films that I absolutely appreciate and love. Princess and the Frog, I absolutely love. I love the animation. I love the characters. I love the music. And I love the story. And so it has all that Disney feeling to it. It is kind of sad that this is one of the last cartoon movies that they made, like hand-drawn. But hopefully those films come back one day. Tangled, after rewatching it this past weekend, I gotta say, it was actually quite great on rewatch. It just reminded, like, it's funny. It retold a story. It retold the classic fairy tale in an interesting way, and by the time you get to the end of the movie, you don't really see anything wrong with it. Not to say Princess and the Frog has problems, but, like, I can't look at that film and say it was perfect. But no film is perfect. But for me, I'm choosing Tangled over Princess and the Frog. Then we got Winnie the Pooh versus Wreck-It Ralph. Is this even a question? Winnie the Pooh is basic. It's fun, it's funny, but we love Wreck-It Ralph more. Come on. I mean, to be clear, Wreck-It Ralph is just a brilliant movie. I mean, the characters, they're fun. The story is just amazing. And I love the story of self-acceptance and on what it means to really be a bad guy in a video game and the video game worlds and everything. It's just so great. It's so fun. It's funny too. The characters are fun. It's great. I love Wreck-It Ralph. Then we get Frozen versus Big Hero 6. I love Frozen. I would probably say this is my it's probably the Disney film that I've rewatched the most. Strictly because it's just so rewatchable. The characters are likable, the songs are just re-singable, and it just has a more memorable plot during wintertime, even though it takes place during the summer. Big Hero 6, I think it's a great superhero film. The fact that they were able to take this Marvel comic book and turn it into a Disney movie is quite genius, and it fits into the Disney universe. It's like, that's really cool. But at the same time, as for me, as a personal fan, I'm going with Frozen on this one because I just absolutely love Frozen. I'm sorry to all you Disney fans out there, but I love Frozen. Then we get Zootopia versus Moana. Now, these are the films that came out in 2016. Zootopia, one of my absolute favorite Disney films. Absolutely love it. I think I'm going to be rewatching it in March next year for its celebration anniversary, for its, 8-year anniversary, I believe. I just love the way that they were able to make this whole world and have, this diversity stuff in it and make it very deep and emotional, but have all the fun with the kid animals stuff for kids. All that is great, so I love Zootopia. Whereas Moana, I think it has great songs, great characters, gorgeous animation with the usage of water. The story's not quite as compelling to me. That you're going across the entire ocean to what? Give this stone back to this fire-breathing monster? I get it if you knew that she was Tafiti, but what's gonna happen after that? What, you're gonna be able to go back on the ocean? Seems kind of like a dumb story to me. At the same time, the movie offers a lot of great Disney stuff, and gives us a Disney's version of what Polynesian and Hawaiian culture is like. So I can accept that. So, oh no, actually, no, not Moana. Nope. Zootopia. Alright, we're on to the last three pairs. We get Ralph Breaks the Internet versus Frozen 2. And these are the two Disney sequels that came out in 2018 and 2019. I thought both of them were very good. And I'm actually going to choose Ralph Breaks the Internet on this one. I think it's just a better sequel. It's not a better movie than Wreck-It Ralph, but it's a better sequel than Frozen 2. Mainly because Frozen 2, I like the way they explored the lore. I love the characters. I love the songs. It just finds ways to live up to the first Frozen, but also expand that story. The fact that we're getting a third and fourth film is pretty crazy to me. Is pretty crazy to me, and I'm gonna be there day one. Ralph Breaks the Internet, I think it is a pretty great sequel. I think it explores a new part of the Wreck-It Ralph world with the internet. And I think that this movie, where the first film was all about self-acceptance, now this one is all about friendship and learning to let go of your friends and let them go on to live their dreams. I think that's pretty cool storyline. Then we get Raya and the Last Dragon versus Encanto. Now, these are two Disney films that I absolutely love. The two 2021 films. Raya and the Last Dragon is a film that It loved ever since I saw it. It's just been one of my all-time favorite movies. It honestly felt like the way Lion King has, where you have this massive story with likable characters, where everything felt simple, understandable, but you also felt terrified and scared, and that's the way that Disney was supposed to make you feel, and that's exactly what this movie did. And it also just had some very badass action, and I liked that the world was big in scale, and so yeah, it was just a great movie. So for me, and then we have, of course, got Encanto, which kind of seems like Disney's version of Coco, where Coco worked so well because it told a good story, but it was also because you have the Mexican culture, and when you have culture, it's hard to not get attached. And with Encanto, you're exploring the Colombian family of Madrigal, and it's very fun. The songs are incredible, especially the soundtrack is from Lin-Manuel Miranda. The characters are so fun and likable. Casita is a very likable character, even though she doesn't talk. I love the animation. It's absolutely gorgeous. For a 3D animated film, Encanto and Moana, gorgeous of all of the 3D animated films for Disney. So, as to one of which I'm going to pick, I'm choosing Raya and the Last Dragon. I'm sorry to all you Encanto fans out there, but I love Raya. And you need to watch him more. Please. So sorry about that. And now we have the final two. Strange World versus Wish. Strange World, I was just bored out of my mind when I first saw it. Like, it actually had an interesting concept and a fun cast. But then I tried to get into it. The situations. Like, I remember some things. There was, like, these, like, ships that are made out of grass. And there were, like, the unique worlds. And they, like, had a story that was kind of compelling, but not really. And so it was like, I couldn't really care about it that much. So, yeah. And then we finally have Wish, the newest Disney animated film. And, overall, here are my first thoughts. I think Wish was actually pretty great. As the centennial celebration of Disney animation, I thought that this new Disney film was great. It, of course, has some powerful songs like Tangled, Frozen, and Encanto, and of course Moana. I will say it has some forgettable characters. Our main new princess is pretty great. The references to other Disney movies is actually quite great. The story about When You Wish Upon a Star is very cool in this movie. And the specific arc. Not arc. What am I talking about? And I also like King Magnifico, Chris Pine's villain in the movie. He's fun. Very villain. Kind of gave some Jafar vibes after looking back at it. After watching Aladdin and Wish back to back. Just very good stuff. It also has a unique pieces of humor here and there. It's just pretty funny. It's another Disney classic. Is it up there like with Lion King and stuff? No, but it is pretty very good. So I am choosing Wish over Strange World. And now it's time to edit this side. Hunchback versus Mulan. Tarzan versus Emperor's New Groove. Mulan versus Emperor's New Groove. Mulan. So we got Lilo and Stitch versus Brother Bear. Lilo and Stitch. Chicken Little versus Bolt. Lilo and Stitch versus Bolt. Lilo and Stitch. Oh, so now we got Mulan versus Lilo and Stitch. Yeah, I'm gonna go Lilo and Stitch on this one. I love Lilo and Stitch. We get Tangled versus Wreck-It Ralph. Frozen versus Zootopia. Wreck-It Ralph versus Zootopia. Ralph Breaks Dinner versus Raya. And then Wish. It's not competing with anything yet, so you can just put it there. And then Raya versus Wish. Raya. So now we got Zootopia versus Raya, which is easily Zootopia. So now we got Lilo and Stitch versus Zootopia, which is Zootopia for me. And now we have Lion King versus Zootopia. Which one is the best Disney movie? For me, it is Lion King. And that is my Disney tier list. Well, not my Disney tier list, my Disney bracket fight to see what is the best Disney movie. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my social media stuff is in the about section over there. I know this stream has been like 45 minutes long. I can't believe that. But yeah, thank you guys for sticking around. And I'll see you guys in the next couple of videos. Bye-bye.